3000.
What is doing? My name's Maloney. This is the 3000 podcast. I'm joined today by a very, very, very heavily requested guest. I have Merda here. Thanks for coming, man.
No problem.
It's been a while in the making.
Yeah. It's not something that was easy for me to work out how to get here. So, it's a fair drive to get here.
It's a mission.
Yeah. 2 hours,
Yeah. And I appreciate you taking the time, man, because like I said, whenever I say who would you like to see on, your name gets thrown around a lot, so I appreciate it.
No problem. It's good to be here.
Yeah, and it's great for people to get their story out there in a way that you want it to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Stories are important because, when people pass away, stories disappear,
Mm-hmm. And if you don't document these things, they do disappear.
Yeah.
So, man, you've got a lot of props and show and tell stuff.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting into this. So let's start at the beginning, man. The murder story from back. Let's go back.
So I was born in 1970.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Preston. Mm-hmm. I think my mum and dad had a small place there. And
Different place back then.
yeah, different place. It's quite small. I sort of vaguely remember, my dad was doing motorbikes, doing them up, restoring them. He was into cars, like English, because he's basically born in the UK.
Yep.
So it was always English-based stuff, motorbikes, cars, mini buses and MGs, but old ones,
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a vague memory I've got of the shed, the smell,
Yeah. My grandfather was into MGs. He had a lot of MGs. He was in the car club and all that sort of stuff. I got those memories as a kid too.
Yeah, it's not a bad memory to have. Motorbikes. I've got some vague memories of a place that he went to. It was an old guy, Claude Mason. He was an engineer. He could build any motorbike part from scratch. And his wife died and he converted his house into a museum. And I just remember all the bikes he had inside this house.
Wow.
Like Indian, everything. It was crazy.
Amazing.
So
that's your early memories.
Yeah, I couldn't find the house. I was trying to find where it was, but there's absolutely no way. He had two Rolls Royces in his shed, just tucked away, dusty. It was crazy. I just remember all these things, like the parts, the bikes, very hands-on.
And so that was your early introduction into physical objects and how cool they could be?
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose that's, seeing my dad work on cars and bikes and things,
Mm-hmm. And so when does the art come into it for you?
The art. There was another, these are vague memories, that it's sort of things that I remember. There was, the dining table at Preston. I think my sister would have been born, so she must have been quite young, which I was young also. My dad came home with a whole Letraset suitcase, Pantone markers.
Yep.
And it was I think it was vinyl or something, and just had all the markers laid out. And we were playing, drawing on the dining room table, and had gone through to Mum's, onto the I don't know what's it called, a dining.
It would have been probably laminate back then.
Oh, it was something anyway. It had gone through, and she's cracking it a little bit, but it's just a memory of drawing, and it's something I always did as a kid. And I think when I was asked. When I was young, it's like most artists, that they wanted to be an artist when they grow up, sort of thing.
So drawing was, and what are you drawing then? Cartoon characters or whatever you could sort of think of? Anything you're copying, I guess?
Yeah, I think copying. I do have an early drawing, which I copied from a book. It was in grey lead. Mm-hmm. I've only got, certain things from back then.
Yep.
But yeah, so I think it was copying. So I remember at school, kids making fun of me going, you've got one of those this device, I forget what it was called. I actually found one at an op shop. It was this arm that you could trace and it would duplicate it. And they always said that I had one of those. I'm like, no, I'm just drawing from books.
Yeah. It was like a compass. It had an arm that sort of pivoted. Yeah. I don't know what they're called either.
Yeah, I've forgotten.
I feel like saying Etch-a-Sketch, but that's the one with the knobs. No.
Yeah, it's similar to that though. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then so you were just good at copying.
Yeah.
And then you start to make your own characters up or what?
Yeah, I think I started drawing. I've got some old drawings of cars, old cars.
Yeah.
And just, I think my dad was in advertising early on, so he was an art director. And
hence the markers.
That's where the markers come from. So he would have just been starting advertising when I was quite young. And I just sort of like vaguely remember like waiting. It would have been around Flagstaff Station, like picking him up when I was young, outside this building there.
Yep.
And I just sort of vaguely remember having like one of those penny skateboards with massive wheels on it for some reason.
There's one up there. Oh, you can't really
Oh
see
yeah,
it.
yeah. It was like transparent.
Yeah.
I don't know why you remember this stuff. You know.
No, but it's
the
funny.
toys, 70s toys. You know?
But you've got a visual memory because you're a visual person. I think.
Yeah.
So those early days. So your dad was working in the city.
Yeah, he would have been. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's yours. So you're going in there to hang out with him, pick him up. So that's your introduction to the CBD as well, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah. So like don't really think about it much, like where it was positioned within Melbourne, but like milk bars too was a thing. Also like I remember vaguely going to the milk bar. Yo-yos. Getting actual money back from bottles was a thing in the 70s, which it disappeared for a long decades.
Well, they're back now.
Back now.
Yeah, you can get your 10 cents. That's how my son's paying for his next Nintendo, is collecting all the cans and bottles. So Lucky's dad's got some alcoholic friends that come into the studio. Look at the bin over there; it's overflowing. So it's a thing that's coming back. But so then you're using the markers your dad's bringing, and you're just drawing. He's obviously encouraging because he's artistic as well.
Yeah, I think so. Also, like when I look back at the connection within artists, my grandmother on my mother's side was basically an artist, young. I think she was one of the first women to actually draw a naked body. I think it might have been RMIT.
Wow.
Maybe possibly in the 40s.
I was going to say, you must have been, in the 30s or 40s.
Yeah. So I've got quite a few of her drawings. Like, she was an amazing artist, but then she had a family and stopped and then picked it up later in her life. So there's definitely connections with what I do and what she did, because I found drawings later on that were symmetrical, and like she'd literally did the same technique that I did with graffiti, like folding a piece of paper, drawing on one side and then rubbing it and then opening it, like the symmetrical sort of style that I'm known for. But I found drawings that were very similar, like patterns, done in watercolour, I think.
Wow. So then the symmetry is a very interesting thing, because do you think it's like an OCD thing? Does everything have to be symmetrical?
Well, I suppose, look, nature, a lot of aspects of nature are symmetrical, Like you look at the human face, it's symmetrical. Like not perfectly, but it definitely, there's symmetrical aspects to it.
But then you look at like the Fibonacci sequence and it's asymmetrical.
Yeah, that's crazy,
Yeah.
There's
But
definitely
still,
mathematics and,
maths involved, all right, so let's go back to your story. So you're drawing, your dad's encouraging you, because I think a lot of people that are growing up in the 70s, their parents are like, no, you go get a real job. Like, to do something artistic isn't deemed to be a career path. But your dad being an advertiser, it would help.
Well, it's definitely it's a creative.
It was as creative as it got back then, pretty much.
Yeah, he was like, but so basically it was, Preston. Then we moved. We moved quite a lot. I only recently sort of mapped out, school. I'm trying to map out schools and bring back memories and addresses and things like that. So I probably would have been like maybe late teen, like probably around 7-ish, 6, 7, and we moved to Croydon.
Yep.
So that was a bit further out this time.
Different to Preston too.
Yeah, I think it must have been because they must have bought the place, I think, maybe.
And that would have been a developing area back then.
Yeah. Vaguely, I did do a Google search, found the house, and then looked at a real estate ad, and then could see some of the rooms that were still there, and it just triggered a memory.
Wow.
I could still remember the wood panelling in the rooms, and
very 70s.
The 70s basically was Kiss. It was Kiss cards. That was Croydon for me, like collecting those Kiss cards that made a poster and stuff like that,
That you'd get from the newsagent or the
like
bar?
milk bar was the bubble gum pack,
Yeah.
You'd get, I don't know how many, I can't remember, probably 4 or 5 in a pack, and
some chewy bubble gum.
Yeah.
Hard stick of bubble gum.
I can't remember much art. It's just that period.
Yep.
So then from Croydon we moved to Upwey. I probably would have still been, I think I was in grade 5, 6 back then. So then again, Upwey was so different. It was more, furniture, like, Belgrave.
Yeah.
Line. the memories that I've got there is the local squash club would have. They would update the arcade game that was in there every time. So it was like the tabletop, and that's, I got into arcade games. I just love that stuff. I had a vague memory of Melbourne Airport. That was the first time I saw one. It was Pong.
Wow.
Tabletop.
Yep.
It would have been maybe late 70s.
Yeah.
So I was definitely into gaming. Like I loved, like Dig Dug was a major one that, was that sort of era.
Space Invaders?
Yeah, Space Invaders, Galaga,
yeah.
all that stuff. But because it was new. It was literally coming out at that time. It's not retro. It was new,
Yeah, it was. So that is, I guess, just so new and exciting. And there's characters involved in that as well.
Yeah.
You look at the characters on the side of the game. They're not the 8-bit pixels that you're seeing in the game, but they're showing you some animation, which is cool.
Yeah, I suppose that's definitely like an inspiration for me. Like back then, like all that artwork, all the gaming stuff was crazy.
And they are a lot of that stuff is symmetrical too, and because you can only work with the pixels, you kind of are limited with what you can do.
Yeah, it's amazing for what they did. Like the limited, they've been limited by the amount of pixels they had. They did some great stuff. For
sure.
Yeah.
And so then you at school, obviously you're doing art. Are you excelling in that because you've got
I always did well with maths and art were always my strong points.
Mm-hmm.
English was always bad. It was always struggled with English. It was just something. I think my mum said that she used to shout at me when I was little, when I used to read and I didn't get things right. And I think I got a major mental block when it came to reading. I couldn't read out loud. It would come to the point where I'd be in class and it was my turn. I would literally be just dreading it.
I was the same, man. I hated it.
Yeah, it was like torture. It was really distressing.
I was exactly the same. I could talk all day, but if I have to read it, just something goes wrong with me.
Yeah, it's just like it's just shakes and it's terrible.
I was actually thinking that the other day because my son's going to school now, and I knew I suffered like that too. And I'm like, I reckon now you could probably say to the teachers, "Hey, I'm not comfortable," and they wouldn't call you out.
Yeah.
But back in the 70s and 80s, that's not a thing.
No, it's not a thing.
They're like, "Fucking, you're reading, man. We're going to ask you more now because you don't want to."
Totally true. Like, I look at my kids and they're doing well with both English and maths, which is great.
Yeah.
It's not good to have, those barriers. And it's like, it's affected my adult life as well. But, I do get around it. I can write things. I can read okay. And, I get around it. But
maybe
it does,
a bit of dyslexia in there?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. But you push through it. And with technology, it definitely helps with, spelling.
For sure.
I've run businesses and that, so you have to have a point of, you have to be able to write.
Yeah.
You have to,
The thing is with that, as well, I'm a horrible speller. What they get you with the spell check is then you've spelt the word correctly in the wrong context.
Yeah.
And then
happens.
you look silly. I've done that before.
Yeah.
So then, school, you're doing well at maths, you're doing well at art.
Yeah.
Are you thinking, okay, and your dad's in advertising, so you're thinking that's a career path? I guess graph hasn't even hit the radar because we're still in the late 70s.
Not yet. No, but we're probably hitting the early 80s at the moment because of the games and all that. Probably, 90, 81. My dad sort of said that I should be studying. There was a friend of his, David Nelson, which was a professional illustrator. He used to airbrush.
Yep.
And
I think I've got a book of his.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he was one of my, he was an icon for me.
Yeah.
Like, I saw his work and went, wow, I really want to be where he's at. So my dad said, yeah, you could go to this school and, study there and become a commercial illustrator. So that was my goal for a long time, So basically that's what I was working towards.
Did you get an airbrush?
I used an airbrush, but not at that point. It was more just about schooling and where I was headed.
Yep.
So that was probably, it was a massive goal for me to go to this, I think it was in Preston. I can't remember exactly what it was. It might have been Preston. It wasn't Preston Tech. It was something else.
Okay. Right. So then, and that's awesome because you've got the best markers at home. You've got all the stuff that you could ask for. And your dad also knows people within that arts community. So that's incubating your talent as well.
Probably at the time, there was up by Lego was a major thing for me. 70s Lego and then the transition. I was always building, and that I learnt so much from Lego. Structurally how to build things basically. It's you don't need to go to school. You just do Lego.
Lego, yeah.
And that was major key. That was a major thing for me also. And,
Lego was limiting back then too because you didn't have all the crazy pieces you've got now.
It's similar to the 8-bit. It's similar to like the whole digital thing. The pixels. It's the same scenario.
Yeah. So Lego that's sort of bringing your three-dimensional ideas to life.
Yeah.
Because obviously now you've got a very 3D style, but then had you figured out that was a direction you wanted to take it? I guess airbrushing always leans towards the shade and the light and
dimensional, aspect to it. So from then, like I just got some vague memories of, my dad was working in Cecil Street, South Melbourne. It was Campaign Palace. It's one of Melbourne's,
There's a lot of artists and
school.
creatives there, yeah.
He was one of the, he was there early on when it was starting, basically. They got the reputation from when he was working there.
Yep.
They did a lot of good ads. I worked on a few things. I remember I did a Lego truck for a campaign. It was for possibly Just Jeans, and they wanted me to build a truck, which I did, and they used it in an ad. It never got to air, but it was like a pilot. It was just a mock-up for the client.
Yep.
And I think from then on, my dad was like, I could, move on to creative aspect of something.
Awesome. Yeah. I grew up around there, and a lot of my friends' parents were all in that advertising around South Melbourne and that in that era. It was a real hub for it, kind of like what Cremorne became later on down the track in those 80s and yeah. Yeah,
I sort of remember like South Melbourne Market. I remember what South Melbourne was like. So what happened, right, we were in Upwey in this it was quite a big house. My dad was obviously pulling in a bit of money. I think he was probably earning, I'm not sure, around $2,000 a week.
Wow.
Early 80s.
That's big bucks.
I remember he got a brand new Commodore and it was black, tinted windows, and he had a gold strip on it like John Player Special because he just loved, I think that was smoking John Player Special back then.
And that would have been like a VB or something early 80s, I reckon?
Yeah, he had mags too, which were gold. Whoa. So that's something.
He was
quite
pimping,
fun.
man.
Yeah, he's pimping. he was into the Grand Prix, he's into cars. Well, he's still, back then he had 2 Mini Cooper S's. One was blue and one was red.
Wow.
And he did them up and they were like, S's, which were the faster
sports
ones.
Model, yeah.
And he'd just be cruising around, Upwey, which was hilly, those hilly roads. And I remember being in the car, like, cruising around in it. They're so small and manoeuvrable. Like, it's quick.
It was that English way, though. That's sort of like of having the little cars but fast.
Yeah.
So then you're going to so South Melbourne, there's more going on than there is in Upwey. So you're seeing a little bit more and there's more advertising going on. There's more culture, I guess, when you're going to there.
Yeah. So, like, we must have been living in Upwey. He was working in South Melbourne. I'd visit occasionally, and advertising agencies were always very clean. There was like a lot of money involved. I don't know. The fridges were always full.
There's a lot of smoking.
Cars, like, my dad always had really good cars. I remember like going in a Lamborghini, like a vague memory. It was an old boxy type one. I don't know. It was all a bit of a wank, if you ask me, like the whole advertising thing.
Yeah.
I think I sort of started to grow up and sort of disliked it, the amount of, the BS that was involved with it.
Yeah.
It was just such a, like, status, what you owned, it's all materialism.
Yeah.
They were doing good things creatively, but I think there's so much more to it, though. It was a lifestyle.
Yeah, it was. And it sort of, that whole advertising industry comes crushing down pretty quickly as well later on in the piece. But I guess you get that introduction, you're like, okay, creatively, this is an avenue I can go down, but it's not really for me. I guess you figured that out early.
So my brother was born around 1980, and that was Upwey. So we must have been there for 1 or 2 years. And then I was in grade 6 at Upwey Primary. And then basically my mum and dad they separated somehow. And then somehow, I can't even remember what really happened. Basically, we were living in one of my mum's friends' places for a while. My dad was, I think he moved to Albert Park, and then he got, I think he got a girlfriend, which was younger. She was quite a lot younger than what he was. And then basically that just, it mixed up the whole scenario of happy family.
Yep, yeah.
I don't know whether it was because my brother was born. I don't know what the scenario was. Later on, I found my dad had bipolar. Not sure whether that's something to do with what was happening. But anyway, it's just an upheaval, you know. So from there, we were living at this place. I can't even find where it is. I don't even know. My brain's just blocked it out for some reason.
It might have been a traumatic time for you as a kid.
So it's just been blocked out. So from then we moved to, my mum and dad got back together. We moved to Cecil Street, Albert Park.
Yep.
I went to Albert Park Primary I must have been a part of a year. So I must have moved from Upway in grade 6 to Albert Park grade 6. I was trying to find, they had a time capsule that was buried there, and I did a drawing and put it in there. And I've been trying to find information, which I found last week. And they're like, yeah, we found it. It's been dug up, and there was a sculpture on top of it, and it was like upside down. It was part of a playground. Yeah. It's quite cool. I just remember the sculpture. And they've moved the time capsule to the building somewhere, and they're like, oh, it's going to be open in 50 years from 1985. And it's like, it wasn't 85, it was 82 or something. So I've got to wait, you know.
Yeah.
Until next decade.
And they've put a lot of, my partner, she actually went to Albert Park Primary. But she's a bit younger, but they put a lot of portable buildings and all sorts of stuff in there now. It's definitely changed, because it's a small school for... Yeah.
So the things I remember, like, it was a good school. Like, I think my sister went there after, but the thing I remember is the milk bar across the road, arcade game, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
It was early 80s.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just got drawn to arcade games for some reason. I think most kids did, you know, the 20-cent pieces would be stacked. You know, you put your 20 cents to go next, and they'd be stacked along the screen.
Yeah, for sure. There was a fish and chip shop down there that had Gallagher as well. And
it might have been it. It was it might have been fish and chip.
I remember. I've got, you know, I grew up there, but not until the 80s. But it was an exciting sort of place then. There was Andrew's Hamburgers, a fish and chip shop. You had all that cool stuff.
Yeah, that's great. You know, South Melbourne was very strange. Like, it's a lot different now.
It hadn't been gentrified at that point. It was so working class. Yeah. And Port Melbourne was extremely working class. South Melbourne was a little bit more not as working class. And Albert Park was kind of your rich people. Yeah.
Yeah. Albert Park's always been your rich people.
Yeah. You know? But realistically, it's just about 100 metres from South Melbourne. Yeah. Yeah.
So from so my parents separated again. Right. And we moved again. So we moved to Balaclava. This was around 84-ish. I moved schools.
All very different places.
Oh, no.
Balaclava was so multicultural back then.
Yeah. It was definitely, it's quite vacant. I don't know, just I've got a lot of different memories. So I started Swinburne Junior Community. That would have been 1983.
Yep.
And
that's the Paran campus?
Pardon?
Was that the Paran campus?
No, it's Swinburne Junior Community. It's up in Hawthorn.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's Barker's Road. The building's still there. It's been converted into apartments, I think. Yeah. It was like a church building. So I was catching the tram down Glenferrie Road from Balaclava with my friend. And that was an experience, like the whole tram aspect, you know, catching a tram to school. It's pretty cool, like the old trams.
Yeah. W class.
Yeah. And the seats that would, switch over.
The old leather seats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of different things, a lot of different memories. So Balaclava, the house, for some reason, it was vacant for some reason. That's in my brain.
Do you remember the street?
I can't even see furniture.
Right.
I found the house, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was sort of next to the Video Land there.
Yeah.
It was right next to the...
Video Flash or Video...
Video Flash, yeah.
Because they had one in Albert Park as well.
Yeah. So I had an accident on my push bike. It was... I was going to the fish and chip shop or something. I was 14. Basically, a car door opened right where that Video Flash was, and I got knocked off it and punched it in the chest.
Shit.
And the people got out and basically started abusing me. And I'm like, what is going on? I was 14. And there's some guy ran out and said, I saw it all. Here's my details. And they're just like, piss off, dude, you know. So it's pretty traumatic. And then I think we moved after all that.
Again?
Yeah, so my parents got back together again.
For the second reunite. Oh, okay.
So I think I was still at Swinburne Junior Community. Moved to Malvern this time.
Uh-huh.
So
Closer to school.
yeah, so it's just straight down Glenferrie Road. At this point, 83, 84 we're hitting now. We're, on the verge of hip-hop in Australia, I suppose I remember sort of vague memory Swinburne. I had a ghetto and I think I wrote rap on it or something,
With Poscas?
Yeah, no, it wouldn't have been Poscas. I can't even remember what it was. Poscas weren't a thing back then.
They come in the late 80s?
Yeah, they might have. There wasn't very, it wasn't, no, I can't remember Poscas for a long time. So Swinburne, I think I remember Up Rock, Rocksteady Crew. Started just getting into hip hop for some reason because it was starting to hit Australia, basically, just like on Countdown and all that stuff.
Rap dancing?
Yeah, rap dancing. So my friend Aram and I went to a rap dance class, was in East Malvern, was Backstreet Boogie. And I could not find the instructor's name.
Right.
Paul Bonnet, it was. We were doing rap dance back then. So I was drawing and I was, getting into hip hop, this sort of commercialised hip hop, if you could say it. And we were going to rap dance classes, we're learning the wave and doing, all that sort of stuff.
And that's what people called it then. Like a lot of people would listen to this that are older and they'd think it's breakdancing, but no, it was called rap dancing.
Yeah, it's rap dancing. Like now they call hip hop a dance. Yeah. You can't have a cultured name as a dance move. It's confusing, Hip hop is the culture. It's not a dance.
Yep.
Yeah, my daughter's coming back from school and she's like, we did hip hop today. I'm like, oh yeah. Where did that transition of the word happen? You had locking and popping. I was into that. So yeah, it was cool. We went to rap dance class and so Paul Bonnet was the actual father in the commercial of the one with the natural confectionery company with the dinosaur.
Oh, chop his head off, Daddy?
Yep, that's him.
Wow.
And I found an article recently of a journalist trying to track down his name because they were trying to find the people that are in the ad.
Yeah.
And he's like, the only thing I could find was a comment on a video on YouTube saying, oh, that's my cousin Paul, whatever,
Did you try and look him up on Facebook or something?
Absolutely couldn't find anything about it. But they were good memories, Mm-hmm. We did some actual rap dance, demos or something. It was like a gallery opening or something vague I can remember with Backstreet Boogie, I think.
That was your crew?
No, I wasn't in Backstreet Boogie, but that because we were students, I think they let us dance.
Okay.
So.
And when you say us, who else are you with?
Well, Aram, my best friend at the time.
Okay.
I remember one of the flyers had this groovy sort of character with glasses, and it was all black and white, but it had that sort of chrome drawn look. Yep. It was great, and it sort of inspired a lot of my stuff back then. I was copying it.
Yep.
I was 14, so I suppose I'm hitting Swinburne. It was 84. So, 85 hits. I think I was still in Melbourne.
Uh-huh.
I start at Huntingdale Tech in Oakley, new school. It's quite big. It's different because Swinburne was quite small, and this has got 4 sectors to the school.
It's like you're year 9 or something at this stage, I guess, because you're like.
Oh, it would have been 7. 9. So, so Swinburne, bigger school. And then I met this guy, Les Baker, GS38.
Uh-huh.
See this stuff that he's got in his sketchbook and just was like, wow, what is this? So I was already doing art. I was always drawing. I just saw this stuff, which was graffiti, basically.
So that's the first... So in the film clips, you'd see graph in the backgrounds and that sort of thing?
Yeah, it wasn't... it's like a film clip. There was the breaking comp on Countdown, which had energy transfer... breaking and all that stuff. But it was more of a backdrop. Buffalo Girls was another one,
Yeah.
You'd only see it, as backdrops.
Yeah.
But then seeing a sketchbook, like all hand done, was, it just blew me away.
Had you messed around doing letters before that?
Yeah, I was doing letters at school at Swinburne, junior community.
With a graffiti edge to it, or
Yeah,
just more
sort
of a
of.
three-dimensional?
Yeah, three-dimensional, all sorts of different styles. I think I've got some breakdance sort of font styles, from the breakdance movie.
Yeah.
And that was like even the music, Reckless,
Yep.
the tracks from that,
Yeah. So did you have a rap dance name back then?
I don't think so, no.
J Boogie or something?
When I started Graph, it was basically, GS38 was the number of your house number, which I don't know, I'm not sure if that's the smartest move, but...
It was like the Tucky 183 type thing. Yeah.
Which is cool, but in Australia it's a bit different,
Give up your address, yeah.
So it's Justice J36 was my first sort of, full name. I think it was, I suppose, Grand Sorcerer 38, which was GS38.
Right.
So I had this, a long name, which eventually got cut down to J when I pieced.
Yeah.
So, this is 85, the art room at Huntingdale. My art teacher was amazing, Poppy. I think Poppy King, possibly. So that's how I started Graph, was painting on canvas, because GS was doing canvas work. We just started doing canvases.
With aerosol?
With airbrush.
Airbrush. Because you had access to that at the in the class.
Yeah, they had an airbrush. So I think that's how I started getting into letters and just experimenting.
At that time, there was graph out in the wild, but few and far between, though. It wasn't everywhere.
No. It had just well, Future 4 were doing stuff. So basically, I got exposed to the whole graffiti thing of what GS had. He had the worst copy of Star Wars that was dubbed multiple times. But even just, it didn't matter about the quality. Just the content was enough to just change my life.
Yeah. And I'm guessing Subway art as
Subway
well?
art, yeah, totally. Subway art is the Bible for graffiti.
Mm-hmm. So then you're at this stage, you're not copying as well. Like, everyone's copying a little bit, you're learning, but you're trying to do your own thing.
Yeah, of course I'm still copying the disco piece on Subway art. I just love the transparency of that and the colours. And so basically I think I did a J that was very similar. I think I had bits like curling off. So I sort of was doing sort of three-dimensional things before graffiti. So I think I was sort of putting that into graph then.
Yeah. Because graffiti then, everybody had their not everybody, but a lot of people had 3D dimensions to it, but it wasn't the primary focus of the piece. You had your 2D piece with your 3D on it.
Yeah.
People weren't doing three-dimensional letters per se.
No, it's very flat.
Yeah.
I suppose K's too, possibly, but it's still flat aspects. But then Wild Style does have a dimension to it that, incorporates. It's not just flat. It does have a dimension to it.
Mm-hmm. But you're instrumental in pushing that.
Yeah, so we took, 85, 86, Huntingdale. So, just Les was a good friend of mine. We're, hanging out. He's making films. I was in a few of his films, which is quite funny.
Even when he's 17, he's making films.
Yeah, he was doing HSC, so he's a bit older.
But not much.
He'd only just, Future 4 had only just split up. So basically we got together and started doing things. I think we entered a few art comps, fully crafty, whatever, art comps, putting graffiti in there. I think I got an award or something. I can't remember.
Really? That would have been pretty revolutionary.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. So had you met other writers at this stage? Had you gone to Richmond and sort of,
Not yet. I think with the transition, I started piecing around 86 illegally.
Yep.
Our first piece would have been maybe the first... it was the GS and J. Or the TWB. I can't remember which one was first.
And TWB is your crew that you formed
the
with
Wild Boys, which is taken off Duran Duran, because I was into Duran Duran,
Okay.
And, and Les liked the film clips, Russell Mulcahy, all that stuff. So it was sort of a connection. Yeah, and so we were one of the first writers to piece the Rosella Wall in Richmond.
Yep.
The GS and J. So I was just starting out learning how to use spray paint, and basically I'm just outlining his piece for him, or doing the firsts and last. I'm not sure whether he was trying to teach me or he was just, slack.
Yeah. So but you guys had cut your teeth doing with the airbrushing, but it's very different to using cans in the wild.
We're talking spray paint back then was not catered for graffiti, and you're talking about it was hard to get. I was not a good racker.
Yep.
You're talking Dulux, which had a chisel cap on it. Caps were not a thing.
Yep.
It was hard to get a cap that actually worked. You look now, what's available.
Yep.
It's insane. But back then, it was whatever you had. Basically, you just had to deal with it.
And you're limited by colour palettes too.
Yeah. So even with Dulux, you had the chisel. So when you're doing thin line, you had to change it to do vertical, and then you'd switch it to do horizontal.
Yeah.
And then circles, you'd have to.
So that Rosella wall, when you first hit that, is there trackside pieces around
Not
that?
really, no. There weren't too many. There's USA, which were aspects of Future 4 that split up, which was Gaza and Prime, or Yuri. And they started USA, with Bondi, Ransom, Zone, a whole heap of different writers.
Who are slightly older than you
names.
then?
Pardon?
They're slightly older than you then?
Probably around the same age.
Right.
Yuri was a bit younger. They were amazing painters. So I used to paint at the Gasworks in Albert Park.
Yep.
That was like somewhere we used to always hang out. Like that's the art park or whatever it is now.
It is.
But back then it was literally flattened, and it was just a whole block of walls. We just
I used to
go
ride
there
my
and
bike
piece.
there, yeah.
And that's where I used to hang out and just piece there. Sometimes just by myself and film it. I think Les made some movies there. I can't remember. But that's where I met the USA crew. That's where I met Prime for the first time, and a few of them. I'm pretty sure he was doing that Prime piece with the different letter styles for each one, different colours. Buntlack they were using, which is crazy. They just got all this buntlack, and just seeing what they were doing. So then this is the part sort of like 86. I'm starting to meet writers and the writers bench in Richmond.
Yep. And so those guys at the writers' bench are like, this is cool, but you've got to get out there and sort of hit the walls. The art stuff of it wasn't impressing those guys.
Oh no, definitely no. The writers' bench was just it was just all of us just conversing in this one spot, and then just looking at what was happening. It was such a good era. Like it was just the vibe of like we're all friends basically. We're competitive. We're all different crews, but it was all. We've all got the same love.
Yep.
It's trying to push graffiti,
Are you going there? So paint me a picture. I'm too young, right?
Yeah.
So it's 87, 86?
86, 87.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're going to the writers' bench. You're going to go, all right, we're going to head down there. You're going after school? You're going on a week?
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't even know how we actually worked that out because, no mobile phones or anything. Somehow, I think it might have just been the fact that you just go past and people were there.
You see them there looking at sketchbooks. Was it a bit sort of... You're sitting there looking at sketchbooks, looking like teenage kids that may or may not be engaging in illegal activity. Surely it was a beacon for the cops.
It eventually, it definitely was a beacon eventually, I used to dress like a goth, so, I had that was sort of to my advantage sometimes. Cause
the
cops
new wave sort of thing? Or
because cops would just sort of look, but eventually they knew who I was, and then would pick me up. So I suppose this 86 Les and I sort of didn't separate, but I think we parted ways, and he was doing other things and moving on. So like 86, 87. I think with the legals, like we had legals going on.
Because it's in the mainstream more, people understand it a little bit more?
Not really. Like this is like the City Square was a major thing. There's a youth centre, just a City Square.
Yep.
Chris and Calvin were the officers there. They started organising legals for Melbourne.
Right.
So the building hoardings for like different built skyscrapers or whatever were getting built in the 80s. Like we had Museum Station, that was Central. What is it? Museum is
Parliament?
Melbourne Central.
Melbourne Central, yep.
Which was Diamaroo when it was originally built. That was getting built, so we were painting the hoardings. That's around 87.
Yep.
So I was basically hitting illegally. I went from J to Murder because I got busted. I got raided. From J, I started writing 10125, which was J as code, which was 10 for the whole code thing. I've explained this before.
Yeah.
So basically, I went on to that, but then I changed to Merda.
Where'd you get Merda from?
I don't know. I'm not sure. It's just something that just came about. I just restructured the letters to be because of the double R's in the word murder. It's hard to have two of the same letter.
Yep.
I just started doing that. I suppose who was I hanging around with? Like, I'm starting to hang around with Peanut, Miss, Saipan, FMC, like Ash, Hayes, all those guys.
Yep.
I don't know how that all happened. Like, NHA were another crew, like all those guys, Colour, Poet, Nuts,
Where were they from?
They're sort of Frankston. And we're all like Frankston, Dandy, Belgrove, because of the Richmond thing, all these lines. So it's not Hurstbridge, it's more that's the other side of the city.
Yep.
Because we're all,
Because
it's the connections of the train lines, basically.
Yeah. So what platform was the Riders' Bench? Which platform was it?
I'm not sure. It's maybe it changed. I can't visually. I just remember whole.
But it was more on that South Yarra side of Richmond Station.
It might have been more the Belgrove. It was sort of in the middle, I think. Okay. Yeah.
All right. It's amazing that station hasn't changed at all.
No, it hasn't. No, it's crazy.
Yeah. The only difference now is that they've got sort of those glass partition-y things there, but other than that, it's pretty much the same.
It's the same. It's got the same smell and.
Does it take you back when you catch the train through there?
Yeah. That era, the subway was just bombed. Yeah. Absolutely chockers. Yeah. Like every bit of space in that subway was absolutely chockers for tags.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like you got to think about like there were no markers. Everything back then we would customise like caps. Eventually we had kill rust, the paper technique, which I think Cax were talking about it.
Yep.
Is on a later era. It came from the era that we were from because we had to invent things to get by. The paper technique was to hold back for outlining, which I used a lot.
So you jam a bit of paper under the nib?
Yeah, just to stop the pressure. Mm-hmm. The other technique was let pressure out, like upside down, get the air out of it. Markers back then, I was cutting off, the whole top, or taking the filling out, cutting it and then crimping it. So you just have the filling so it's a bit higher and then crimp it and then you got a flowy. Don't know where my flowies just got lost in time. I wish I had them now, but they were handmade and that's what you just got by. So I had a flowy for a while, but it just made so much mess. My God. So when you tag, it's just like, it was great, but inks everywhere.
Your paints are paying the price. Your pants are paying the price. Yeah.
I suppose so we're talking 87, it's just riders hanging out, we're piecing illegally, we're doing legals, we've got the city square.
Are you using different words to do the legals, I'm guessing then?
I think, I think I might have done a justice, a TWB. I did a murder at museum and basically someone came up to me and said, did you hear what that car, like those guys in the car said? I was like, no, I was just painting. I was like, they were shouting at you like murder. It was the transits because I started doing throw-ups and stuff with Peanut, and we had shit all over the place. But so they're just trying to bait me, and that was the thing. They're just trying to get us, and these guys were in their 30s.
And you're in your teenage years.
Yeah.
So you feel it's not a really... So,
80, like 70, I was born. So it's 87, I'm 17, basically.
Easy way to remember it.
So they're just... It was hot. Like Melbourne, a lot of riders, a lot was going on. Melbourne's getting bombed. A lot of painting was going on.
Were we setting the pace nationally, do you think? Was Melbourne the epicentre back then?
Yeah, definitely. Like things were happening in Sydney, but Melbourne, style-wise, was a lot more solid, There's definitely good writers from all over.
Yeah. And by the late 80s, is there more magazines and more print stuff getting around?
Yeah. So, 88 more sort of happening. 88's is definitely the pinnacle of Melbourne graffiti.
In your book? Yeah. Or it's official?
It's official. I'm making it official.
Okay.
88's a good number.
Right, yeah.
It was Melbourne's peak moment of style. I think we had so many good writers, like, you know, all the DMA crew, you know, we had, you know, New, Tame, they were doing amazing things.
Yep.
Like, everyone was doing good stuff.
Yep.
Just experimenting, they were just trying to push it, you know. Yeah, it was a good time. So basically we had some exhibitions. Around 87 was, you know, it was Seaman's Mission at Port Melbourne was one of the first exhibitions that I remember.
Right. Whereabouts in Port Melbourne?
It was the actual Seaman's Mission it was called. It was it's been knocked down now.
It was abandoned for a while though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah. I suppose, like, you know, 87 for me, I'm starting to design. I just started doing some design for Chasers, which I've got some show and tell, which I probably
So the globe logo?
No, it was a night. It was
okay.
Times Square it was called.
Yep.
Hang on. I actually just got some show and
So for
tell.
those people who don't know, Chasers is a nightclub on Chapel Street, and it was definitely pivotal in a lot of club culture in a lot of different aspects, whether it comes to dance music, rock music, hip-hop, a lot of it. Oh, wow.
So this is the Chasers magazine.
Wow.
And it's from, if you can read Roman numerals, 87 down here.
So was Zagoulis the owner of it back then?
I'm not sure. So you got ads for
Man, I've got to have a look at
Central Station,
Yeah.
you know, back then. So,
Oh, man, I'd love...
you know.
Yeah. Can I look at all... Are they people that work at Chasers in that next page?
No, this is all just fashion designers. They've got,
Oh, man, that's
you know.
amazing.
So here we go. So this is the nights, the different nights, Delirium. So that they just started at Times Square, which is more of a hip hop thing.
Yep. New York inspired, obviously.
Yeah. So the London, New York, Melbourne, it's the Rialto. This is so. I don't know how I got this job, but somehow I met someone and was doing this is like the original bromide for the logo.
Amazing.
So I think the time was done by this guy, Darren. He was a bit older. He was a graphic designer. And he showed me, like, this is all rotary pen by hand.
Yep.
And he showed me techniques I still use now, like counting lines and things.
Wow.
So I started doing commercial, like, not commercial, but started doing work for people, like in 87.
Yep.
So I met Lindy Lane, which was a fashion designer, and she had her own brand. And I started doing some T-shirt designs for her through this guy, Pete Bennett.
Uh-huh.
And that's how the wall in Hawkesburn happened, next to the station, the famous wall.
Yep.
That was for a film clip that Lindy Lane did. So they were doing some hip-hop sort of film clip. They had they're like models, two girls, might have been two girls and two guys. It was like a hillbilly rap thing. So they developed a full track for it, film clip. So I did a few things for that. It was a painting a houseboat. So Ransom and I went on site and painted the houseboat in the water. It was that wall, the famous wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how that actual wall happened. It was a total legal for a clip.
Right. And it stood for a long time.
It stood for 37 years until
yeah.
this only happened last year until someone went over it.
Was a foreigner who went over it, wasn't it?
There was a female artist from Canberra and there was two foreign artists from Spain or somewhere, maybe, possibly. Did absolutely no research. They were just saying that, the person that owned the building said it was okay. I just get a text message basically to show me what was happening, and I was just going, oh my God. And the amount of backlash that happened, I'm getting the female artist saying she's getting harassed. And I'm like, look, it's not cool you're getting harassed if it's put your account on private. If it's going to continue, let me know and I'll deal with it. But my God, just do your research. You're going over Melbourne history. If you're coming in from a different state painting or different country and you're painting over our history, there's going to be a backlash. You know, point out anything else that's around for 37 years. Yeah. It's a long time. It's a respect thing.
It is. And I think that's what a lot of the street artists don't get. That they're like, oh, well, it's street art and nothing stays forever. But you're like, you've got to do your research. You
know, you look how long that wall stayed there. Like, sure, there was one throw up on there. But if you start going over it and edging, the whole thing just gets painted over. And that's what happened. It's at what point do you stop, you know?
Someone did go back the next day and chuck a murder throwy over it, wasn't it?
It got totally done. Like it got slashed.
Yeah. And
So-
what's the current situation?
It's never going to come back. Unless there's technology that can get paint off in layers, possibly.
But what is it? What's it sitting at now? Like, what is it now?
I don't know.
Okay, it'll be interesting.
It's a shame. It's just Melbourne's lost quite a few different walls. The robot head that Constance Zekos painted on the line, that was there for an extremely long time, got painted over.
Yeah.
Same scenario.
But this is the thing. Young kids that are 12 years old that don't really understand graph, you kind of have an excuse. But people that are mature adults that think that they're doing art, you need to do your research.
Yeah, just do your research. I think it's important to any research, like even when you start art and you do art history, that's researching the previous. Yep. It's important to know where you're headed by seeing previous work.
For sure.
So let's move on from that. Like
I know we had to talk about.
Yeah,
it.
it's a quick 87. So we move into 88. So we've got 88. So around 87, I'm trying to work out the date for this. So my first 3D piece, which I actually brought with me.
Is this in Paran?
This is, we went to Ransom's house one night, and basically I did a sketch, and this is where my 3D style happened. So I think it was the first page in my sketchbook.
Wow.
And that just sort of started the whole 3D aspect.
Yep.
Trust from USA crew is like, dude, I remember the night,
So you think it was late 87?
He was like, it was when...
Can I have a look?
Hang on. Paid in Full came out, the film clip. We were waiting for it to be previewed on Rage. Okay. So I've emailed Rage trying to find out the what the playlist was for that.
Yep.
Or a date, and the date I think it's around June, July 87.
I'm just going to try and... We'll have to take some stills of this.
Yeah,
all right?
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And this is it's another one from my 88 sketchbook, like just a room.
Yeah.
Thought I'd just bring them in, show them.
For sure, man. Yeah, it's
these
pieces of history.
Old now.
Yeah. So now we're talking, well, they're almost 40 years old.
Yeah. So so I recently saw the blank clothing 30 years. I'm like, my generation, we're hitting 40 years now.
Yeah.
It's one decade, probably ahead.
Yeah.
Of a lot of that era of what like clothing brands and stuff.
Stuff like that, yeah.
So
with the Lindy Lane, you were doing T-shirt designs for her?
Yeah.
And what was the label was Lindy Lane?
Yeah, it's Lindy Lane. It was only a few. It was reactive. I think it was something they were starting out. Like it might have been a men's section of that. Lindy Lane did text me through my Instagram when the stuff was happening with the wall being painted over, and she's like, "Hi, it's Lindy." And it was good to have a chat. It's been a few decades.
Is she still in fashion, or
I don't know, but she was sort of saying how her father wasn't impressed that we painted the family houseboat. And I thought that was quite funny. But she, all that sort of thing. But it was a good job, and that's how I sort of started to get into graphics. Designing for people. I did, the famous, which they're in here. One of Australia's first hip-hop, not hip-hop, graph, like hoodies or designs was through Galaxy, which was Sarah and Bruce.
And they had a place on Greville Street?
Just off Chapel.
Yeah.
So we...
Could I have a look at that? Is that okay?
Gazza and I did a design for them, 87. It was a full hoodie.
Can we say who people might know Gazza as?
Disguise.
Okay.
Yeah, I say Gazza.
Not everyone knows.
Yeah. So there was full tags on each. So I've been trying to track one down. It's been quite difficult because no one's got them,
Yeah, well, people weren't holding on to that stuff because they didn't know the impact it would have,
But it sold, extremely well. And there was, when I think about it, street art wasn't street clothing, wasn't a thing back then. It wasn't a norm.
Well, Stussy hadn't really broken, had it?
No, and music also, like the Subterrane clubs were a big thing with the whole hip hop and music. Like in Melbourne, like Subterrane was somewhere I was going probably 17-ish.
Yep.
Somewhere we were all hanging out, and they were releasing like Beastie Boys, Mantronics. They had what were they like? 12s or something. Like they were promotional
But yeah,
vinyl. So they do nights, yeah.
$8 to get in on a Friday. That would have been a lot of money back then,
Yeah.
man. To get into your to your local gig. Wow.
Clubs are huge. Like,
I love the design in this era too.
yeah, it's all
just-
cut and paste. It's hand done.
Wow, Galaxy Emporium. Yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
a new kind of fashion store stocking. Abyss by Sarah Thorne. Yeah, see these brands.
Yeah, they did good stuff. Like, it was good quality clothing. Like, it was chunky.
Yeah, so cool, man.
Yeah.
So 88. Then you're moving on, doing more legals, doing more design stuff, but still doing your illegal stuff.
Yeah, 88. I was doing trains and all that sort of stuff. I felt like I've sort of skipped.
Okay,
a
well
few
then let's go
things.
back. Let's go back. So what are we? So let's go back to 80.
87-ish
Yeah.
still. So I sort of met through, Ransom, a person like Constance Zekos is his name. He's an artist. This is it was an early on show that he had. So I suppose people don't really talk about his connection or influence that he had on Melbourne graffiti.
Right.
He's an art student. He was studying VCA. And he sort of just showed us how to just put a bit more into art instead of just doing a piece. There was a bit more thought involved.
Yep.
Well, he was studying to be a fine artist.
Right.
So, yeah, he was definitely a major influence on what I did.
Because of the way that he was tackling it, or what? How did he influence you?
Just with the way he was doing things, I was very lucky to have good mentors, and he was definitely a mentor. Like I had GS,
Yep.
and then Constance was definitely the next person that mentored me, like with doing art. So around the 87, 88, we were hanging around quite a bit. Yeah, they had a studio up in Dan Murphy's just off Chapel, which was someone recently had the studio last couple of years. Upstairs. So we used to hang out there and drink and all that sort of stuff back then.
Just near the car park there.
Across the road from the car park. It was on Chapel. It was
Right.
the old sort of Gothic building.
Oh, yeah. Which became JB Hi-Fi.
Yep.
Yep.
And there was a recording studio upstairs.
Sunshine or something like that. It was called.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember it.
Yeah.
Howard Arkley also had a studio up there. So I'm hanging around Paran. I suppose living-wise, we moved. My parents separated. We moved to Elstonwick.
Yep.
So my mum got a flat on top of a toy store there.
I remember that toy store on the corner there.
Child and adult.
Yes.
Yeah, so we lived there, and I'm in my peak of graffiti. That's all I'm doing. I'm graffitiing the room,
Yeah.
making a bit of a mess. And I think my mum just had enough by then, and she's like, you're going to have to move out. So I moved in with my father.
Where's he living?
So he had a place literally on the Coles car park in Paran on Izzet Street.
Wow.
I was living there. So, I'm doing throw-ups on Greville Street. Greville Street's just where I'm hanging out.
And this is for people that don't know where obese eventually
Yeah.
becomes, but it's not there
No,
yet.
no, it's not there yet. My dad is in he's total advertising. He's got an old Jag. He's done up, cruising around in that. I'd just go to advertising agencies to grab money off him.
Yeah.
I'd be like, total, not mess, but like not advertising material.
Are you goth Jay at this
Yeah,
stage?
maybe.
New wave Jay?
I didn't care. Like my dad gave me shit about being gay or something. I'm like, whatever.
Whatever, yeah.
He's doing his wanky thing with his cars. I think he had a Porsche Speedster 2-door,
Yeah.
And it's like, whatever. It didn't impress me. Like, I don't know. I just sort of saw that world, and I definitely didn't want to go there.
No.
So what happened with that school eventually that he said you should go, he didn't realise I was too young to go there. So by the time he's like, it came, I was too young to go there. So it just totally shattered all dreams I had.
So you had to be 18 or something?
Yeah, and I probably was 16, 17.
Right.
I was too young. So basically that whole goal just got thrown out. Then I just picked up graffiti, basically.
Yep.
We're in Malvern. A lot of crap going on in Malvern. I got raided.
So you're living there with other people?
With
now?
my mum.
With your mum?
So my dad moved out of Malvern.
Right.
And my mum's got it. single mum. She's got this. She must have been paying a lot of rent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Malvern was the key thing. You know, so Peanut and I, one night, Malvern Station, there were billboards. We were doing run-ups, and we worked out a way of doing sort of like loops at Malvern. So the train would pull in one way, we'd jump down, do it, and then run along with the train as it went off, and then jump along the platform, get the next train coming the other way, do run-ups. And we're doing these loops, basically. And we had paint behind the billboard. We did so many that throw-ups were coming back on the panels.
Yep.
And the transit just thought we're going to yards, but it was this whole place at Malvern. It was a funny time.
Right.
And we did some funny things. It was, you know.
It's a long platform, Malvern,
Yeah,
there, isn't
it's big.
it? Yeah.
So there's a lot going on. So I'm still doing illegal, but then I'm sort of verging on the aspect of design and painting. So the 88 hits. We've got an exhibition. It's at City Gallery around July, it was.
Yep.
I did a canvas, which took about 6 weeks. I was painting it in Paran and in the Dan Murphy studio, which Constance had.
Yep.
So I was just using acrylics. I did the canvas, and then we did, I think Ransom and I did a wall each in the gallery,
Yep.
which was City Gallery, which was Anna Schwartz now. Schwartz.
What street's that in?
Pardon?
What street's that in?
This would have been Flinders Lane.
Yep.
So it was a major show. It was good. So we had phase 2 and Days from New York touring Melbourne with Villa and Double O. Mm-hmm. And I met phase 2 at Checkpoint Charlie's on Commercial Road in Paran.
Yeah. Someone was talking about Checkpoint Charlie recently.
Terrell.
And we couldn't remember where it was.
Yeah,
it was
it's Commercial Road.
Commercial Road.
Yeah.
So it was what became like where the Emerson is now or something like that?
I'm not sure.
Okay, or maybe was the Osborne or one of those. Did it become like a gay nightclub down the track?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was gay. It was definitely gay.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, I think...
Would have been the market, or maybe it would have been one of those ones, yeah.
So I'm at phase 2, like, you know, major. It can't get any better than that, you know.
Yeah.
Days was great too. Like, years later, Days came back to Australia and came to my house. We'd chilled out for a bit, you know, really gentle person.
Uh-huh.
Good to meet these people. Like, phase 2, like, what do you say? Like, the innovator of one of the major innovators of graffiti.
Were those guys digging the Melbourne style and what was happening here?
I definitely got a response from Phase about what I was doing with the 3D stuff.
Yep.
City Gallery was one of my major things. I had a 3-dimensional piece on it.
Yep.
I remember some of the writers saying that they were like, oh, this is not graffiti. Like, they were questioning it. I still remember they weren't sure. Like, they were sort of saying, oh, this is not graph.
It's too arty.
They were so used to copying New York. So a lot of them just didn't... Not directly biting New York, but just the style, you know, which is fine. Graffiti's up to whatever you want to paint. You know, it's not up to another person to go, well, you shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
It will never progress otherwise.
Yeah.
So phase 2 acknowledged what I was doing. And then eventually, phase 2 was doing the International Graffiti Times. And then I think it was probably 80, 89, a bit later than 88. And I got on the front cover.
Wow.
Which was major. Like my famous Merda, which was Jam Factory, and big deal. He had a write-up of the show in the middle and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Can I have a look at that too?
Yeah.
Afterwards, I've definitely got to look at things. While you're doing show and tell, I've got to have a look, man. Wow.
Probably a regret because he passed away recently. Was I just didn't reconnect with him. I probably should have just tried a bit harder to just connect and.
Oh man, I've got to have a good look at that. That's amazing. Okay, so Jam Factory at that point wasn't the Jam Factory that it became either.
So Jam Factory was pretty much. I think that might have been my last illegal piece. After it was just too much effort because my style was a bit more complicated. It was over a few nights, and it was just getting a bit much. And I was like, "No, I can't do this anymore."
Yeah.
Also, I got busted a few times. I'm going to court around this period. I'm getting fines. They would never give me community service.
Right.
GS got community service when I sort of around 86, and he was doing stuff at the Adventure Playground in St Kilda.
Oh yeah.
We used to hang out there, and that's where I painted my first piece, I think.
Wow, yeah.
So much to talk about.
Yeah, man, just off Neptune Street there. I used to go to that adventure playground myself.
I went there last couple of years. The disguise there, which I had a photo when he did it, basically it got covered over by a shed. The shed got removed. It got revealed again after decades. I went down to get a photo, but the problem is they built a sand pit in front of it, and I was like, I just wanted to get another straight shot of it.
Yep.
That is such a historical piece for Melbourne, but no one even talks about it, Because
they built a really shit mini, half pipe in front of that bit down the back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing place. You know how old you are when you see trees growing from this big to full size,
Yep.
You know you're aging.
Yep.
It's an amazing place now. Like it's all built, it's all grown
And it's an interesting spot. Like we would be there as kids, and then there'd be someone ODing in the park out the front. You'd have prostitutes there. But then you could go into this little sanctuary where there was people that would look after you, and you could be reasonably safe. You walk out those gates, it's a different story.
St Kilda always had that aspect. Like I was probably hanging around St Kilda around when I was 15, 16 because of GS, and he was living in the hostel that they recently renovated through the block.
Oh, the coffee. The Osborne. Was it Osborne?
Yeah, I think it was the Osborne. It was on Grey Street.
Yeah, I know the one on the corner of Burnett Street there, I think.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I'm not sure what the name was. So that was the first. I suppose I've done all right. Like family wise, we weren't loaded. My father was loaded, but when they separated, it was harder. Like I'm living with my mum. She was quite broke until she got her stuff together and got a job and stuff.
Yep.
It's difficult. Like she got through it, but when I saw Les's environment of where he was living, it was quite.
That would have been hectic.
It was a shock to me. You know, I'd never seen. He was living next door to his mum, like in a room, and that's how they lived, out of one room.
Yeah.
And I have to respect someone that worked that hard in that space. It just shows what you can do as a human being.
Yep.
He's cranking out amazing things just in this small space, like drawings and stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy. It was just a good experience to experience that and put it in perspective.
Yeah. St Kilda was a different place. It still has its grimy side to it now, but Grey Street back then was...
It was dodgy. I remember I used to, because I was a goth, I had a suitcase with my paint in it, like a briefcase. I remember two guys in the car, they're like, hey, and then I turn around and they just literally got a camera taking shots of me. Must have been cops, just documenting who was around the area.
Who was hanging around,
But it was because prostitution moved from Fitzroy Street. Grey was it.
Yep.
Grey was more the main area of the dodginess.
Yes, yeah.
Then
it moved out down to the highway, and then over the other side, the graves
keep pushing it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It never quite went over St Kilda Road, but it kept pushing. Yeah.
I've just bought this for some reason. For some reason, we all know the reason. Just a major influence. GS was also he was writing to people as pen pals, Geiger, he got a letter back. I'm crazy.
This is like your social media then.
Yeah.
This is how you connected.
Doze, Rocksteady crew.
Wow.
He was right. He got quite a few letters from Doze on the Rocksteady crew letterhead. And he'd write back. It was crazy. So he was keeping connection. He was ripping pages out of stuff at the State Library, exhibitions that were happening in New York. So we're seeing bits and pieces what was going on.
Yeah.
So let's put. I'm going back a bit.
No, but it's great.
Backstep.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah, so you got to think about now. We're so inundated with information. Back then, it was very hard to see things. In Subway Art, there's a Zephyr piece. It was a passion piece. There's only a little crop of it. It took me so long to see the full panel. Years later, a long time, probably 10 years or so. And I was like, wow, the full passion piece.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
what it's like, back then.
But there was it was like collecting records or whatever. You could, you didn't have ways to find stuff. So when you did find it, it was so much more thrilling.
Yeah. It's the hunt.
Yeah.
Documentation is probably something also that I should bring up because it's all 35 mil, I was lucky that my father was in advertising and he was into photography. So he sort of said to,
Wow.
do slide film.
The lights aren't going to affect this?
No. And the thing is that with documentation also is that you have to pay for it. This is not instant photography. It's stuff that when you're a teenager, I don't want to be forking out money that I could be partying with, to develop film. And this is just how, it happened. You'd spare the shots for pieces, I suppose.
And so that one, that internal one, that is in that city gallery?
Yeah.
That top left there?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a major show. It was good. It's on YouTube. Like I found it.
Okay.
It's,
I'll put it on I'll put it on the list of playlist stuff that I've got for the channel.
This is like Super 8 film. Probably would have been around 86 from school. It just shows like Richmond. It's on the train.
And so you've got a digital copy of that stuff there on a CD?
Yeah, I have to get it converted again. It's a bit dusty. All right, so with 88, 89, I suppose I started art school, 89.
Which school?
It was Prahran TAFE. Mm-hmm. So Constance sort of was helping me, where to go.
Yep.
Prahran TAFE was it. It was just
so
tertiary-oriented, like it was a TOP it was called.
Right.
It was pre-tertiary.
And
so
that's
it's just,
where becomes Swinburne, that campus?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, so I started there. And I think, so that was a bit of a transition. It really mixed up. I think Royds from MSK possibly wrote something about art school ruined my graffiti. I just remember that. It definitely did for me. Like, it was almost like it just made me a bit confused about what style I was doing. So then, piecing-wise, I wasn't doing much. It was just basically school. I pieced Greville Street. So I made a connection with this guy, Darren Till, which owned a fashion brand, Renegade Clothing, through Bondi from USA.
Yep.
So we started just chatting. He was screen printing stuff out the back. He's making clothing. And somehow we just teed up and I started doing designs for him.
Yep.
So one of the first designs possibly would have been the Campbell soup can.
Yep.
So the brief was he wanted to mix graffiti and something of like fine art. So you pick something like, I think Bondi did Mona Lisa with graffiti aspect, and I picked Warhol, the
pop art, yep.
Pop art, the Campbell soup can. And,
which is like a bit of a piss take in itself.
Yeah, so it's sort of saying that,
we've come so far that we're now taking the piss out of people that are taking the piss.
I don't know, it's hard to see, but this is the original drawing
of
the design.
Yep. And that's 89?
Yeah, 89,
Yep.
I'd say. Yeah. A few people are trying to claim that as theirs, but I think the Hundreds brand.
Yep.
What's his name?
Bobby Hundreds.
That's it.
Yep.
And also Mr. Brainwash later on.
Well, talking about taking the piss, we pretty sure he is taking the piss, isn't he?
Yeah, so I don't know what the connection is with that. So, that's a different story, but...
Is he even a real thing, or is he just a character that Banksy made up?
I don't know.
I remember watching, when that movie first came out, I watched it at Acme, and I remember walking out going, this is going to come out that dude is not a real person. But then 20-something years later,
he's still there.
It's so confusing.
He hasn't disappeared,
No.
So like 89, I'm trying to think it's hard to think what's going on.
So is that the wall so it's on the corner of Izette Street and Greville, and that's where you do the A piece?
Yeah, A piece, which became one of my classic pieces, which was a Wild Style M, but with the bricks.
Yes.
And then...
And that's in 90 or
89.
Right.
I'm pretty sure.
And that's a piece that people sort of say is pivotal to where graffiti goes.
Yeah. It's
Did you know that at the time?
No. It was... I think we were looking... I remember a drawing. Someone actually posted it to me recently. It was a mock-up. We were going to do the whole thing. Because Rennie Ellis, a photographer, had a studio upstairs.
Yep.
And we were going to do something which tied in with Rennie and Darren's things. But we did this mock-up. It was the whole wall. And it sort of was getting processed, but then it didn't happen. And then so Bondi and I just painted the wall.
Yep.
which became, one of my major things. So
How do you do a mock-up in '89? There's no Photoshop or anything.
it was all drawn.
So you get the photo of it. Oh, so no, you just draw the. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we just roughly draw the building. I think we had a photo of it. Or Rennie probably would have had a photo.
Yep.
So I met Rennie, and which was cool. Like I was hanging around Greville Street quite a lot. My dad had. Well, he's selling like antique watches at the time. He's into, restoring watches and things.
Right.
There was Chapel Street Bazaar started on Greville Street. They used to have the bazaar on Greville Street. That's where it started.
Whereabouts? What shop was this?
It might have been Blue Poles.
Okay.
Or, later on.
Yep.
Greville Street was groovy back then. But, Brunswick Street wasn't a thing. Chapel and Greville was major back then.
And Chapel was your more mainstream, and Greville was kind of like your more
alternative. Like, your record store. You had Route 66, the Continental, all that stuff. So we used to hang around. I knew people at Ross from Route 66.
Yep.
Friends of mine used to work there. Another major person that contributed to my art, like a mentor, was Constance's brother, Chris Zekos, amazing artist. And both of them were very influential on what I did. Like, yeah.
And the Station Hotel had the train breaking out through that, which was iconic in itself.
Yeah, we used to, play the penny at the station.
Yeah.
Drink, whatever.
But, yep.
So Paran was a big thing. Like going to art school, the Duke of Windsor. We had, Howard Arkley had a studio. I knew Howard through Constance. Around sort of the late 89, 90s, I'm starting to help Constance, like as a artist assistant.
Yep.
And I started looking through his CV from that show, and that's how I got into, looking at that side of more fine art.
Yep.
So I've been exposed to fine art. Like I was helping do shows for like Linden Gallery, Gertrude Street, all over the place. Sutton, Gallery New South Wales.
So you're hanging there, or what?
Help paint paintings basically for shows.
Right.
And I think Constance and I would paint together. Like he'd have his concepts, and I'd draw things out and paint them. He was developing stencil techniques, which I helped develop as well. So this is the late 80s, early 90s.
Right. And stenciling wasn't part of
stenciling wasn't even
really
a thing. Like I think I did a stencil on a legal late 80s. It was the Remand Centre, I think.
Yep. Which was an iconic spot.
Yeah, it was a whole block of illegal. It was massive. It was funny.
Which is now the Remand Centre,
but
it was being built.
Yeah, it was being built.
In 88, 89.
Yeah.
And
maybe 80. It might have been a bit earlier. But late 80s it was.
80s, yeah. And I know that a lot of people, because that was like a legal spot, you had to get invited to paint it, but then people just kind of did it. Is that how it worked?
I'm not sure. Like, I remember people like doing throw-ups on the road and, got a little bit of mayhem.
Yeah.
And that was through the Chris and Calvin.
Yep.
They organised that through would have been through the City of Melbourne.
Yep. And that idea would have been, okay, graffiti's sort of taken over. If we give these kids a place that they can paint, it's gonna be less of a problem for society. That's what their thinking would have been.
They handled it well. Like they were doing a lot more back then for it. Another thing was Manfax, the paint store, was a major thing. Like I think it was Gertrude Street.
Right.
You get plastic coats. And they used to have picture labels on them for every colour, like different illustration.
Wow.
Can't find them now. Like, there were so many of them back then, but no one's got
no one's held on to the collectors.
Not really. I think we just all piffed them because they were just it didn't matter.
If someone's got some of those, you want to get your hands on them?
Yeah, not anymore. You can get them. Like I have seen, because the whole collective thing started up, and people collect cans. You see people with the full aspect of the collection. I was just trying to remember the main. Yeah, Manfax was a major thing for Melbourne. Like that's where everyone go for paint.
On Gertrude.
Yeah, so it was basically they just have plastic coat and you just water it for illegals.
Right. But was it racking happening there?
I don't know. There were definitely racking happening, but so paint was getting better. So plastic coat was a major thing.
And what was it worth back then when you were buying it for legal jobs?
It would have been under 10. Buntlack was like 15, I think.
Which in the 80s and 90s,
yeah.
that's big bucks.
So I think Dean's Arts had it, but they were getting burked so much, I think they got rid of it.
What about Tuxton in South Melbourne there? Apparently there
Yeah,
was
Leffler's. Yeah, definitely. That was major also because shoe paint was a major thing for Melbourne.
Yeah.
I remember I was doing some stuff for school for TOP, like I would have been around 89, and just painting in my room these canvases for like an assessment, and I got that sick off Tucson from the fumes. It just like put me off for a while.
You need to be ventilated.
Like, oh, God, I can smell it now.
It's amazing how you can just you can remember smells.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. So like I suppose like we're talking the abattoirs. I paint the abattoirs, the abandoned thing, the ransom or dual ransom murder. Piece that it's around the same time. We got Hype. My stuff's getting seen from overseas.
So Hype's what, 92, 90?
Nah, Hype's late 80s.
Right. Okay.
My stuff was I had did a 3D piece at the city square. It was on boards, and it was like a full 3D piece, and that was the centre spread of one of the Hypes.
You would have been stoked on that.
Yeah, it was good. But then that stuff's getting sent overseas, and and then the 3D thing.
Well, let's talk about
the 3D thing didn't really happen until in Europe until early 90s.
Yep.
I had Lumet from Germany come to Melbourne around 91. We hooked up.
Yep.
We did a piece together, and then
where'd you paint with him?
It was an abandoned factory just around South Yarra, just off Chapel, I think.
Yep.
Around that time, Howard Arkley literally had a show, which was Tolano's, above that factory. Because Tolano's used to be behind where that was. He had the interior show, which was all of his interior work, which they have one in Ballarat Art Gallery.
Yep.
I went to the opening, and there was all of paintings in there because I knew Howard. I used to go to the shows, and that's just a vivid memory. I remember the full set of them in the room. I don't know. It's the location was literally above it.
Yep.
So I suppose that we're seeing that too. Howard's work,
and he's a bona fide artist.
Yeah, amazing work. So back to Lumet. So I went to Germany later on in the early 90s.
Yep. After you connected with him here.
he connected with me here, and then I went back over there. He just wanted me to paint 3D. I just wasn't there in that moment. I was doing other stuff. So basically, from the late 80s, early 90s, I started designing for Renegade and hanging out East Richmond. Darren got a store there. It was like Cyber Store, it was called.
Yep.
So I started doing stuff for that.
Yep.
I did the logo, it was all hand done, and did the lettering.
Yep.
And someone saw the lettering and was like, wow, who did this? It was all, rotary pen.
Yeah. And that was like rave culture kind of stuff? Renegade?
It sort of wasn't rave, but I think the ravers wore it.
Because I remember that I was young though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I sort of started designing for Darren, and we did quite a lot together. So I hung out there.
And this is like near Burnley sort of station?
East Richmond.
Yep.
So stuff like this, it's just like, this is a bit dog there. I did the Campbells also, did the Crown, which was a major one.
Yeah, wow.
I did the this foil design, which was all gold foil on a black hoodie.
Yep.
And that just went off.
Like gold leaf.
Yeah, it was like gold leaf.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Las Vegas. So I had Las Vegas, which was Greville Street.
Yep.
And then Cyber Store was the new thing. It was
Right.
always Renegade clothing, but so I just started designing for Darren.
And that was your full-time gig, or are you freelance?
Yeah, I started freelancing, I suppose. So late 80s, I get busted after art school. Cab and I paint Elstonwick Station, the billboards.
You knew the same billboard trick that you're doing? Or you're painting the billboards, or you're doing the billboard hiding the paint behind?
No, we're painting the billboards.
And the billboards are on the station?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that night, my mum's like, "Oh, just be careful." I always communicate with my mum what I was doing.
Because you lived across the road at this stage.
Literally, we moved to Elstonwick. So we moved from child and adult to literally a house that was parallel to it in Stanley Street.
Right.
So yeah, we were right next to the station.
Was that that's like where the brothel was there?
No, that's
What was it called? Gotham's not
Planet something.
Planet. Yeah, it was the Superman.
It's
Daily Planet.
Daily Planet. Oh my god, we used to have fun with that place sometimes.
So you're on that street, was it, or the other side?
On the other side.
Right.
Yeah, well, because GS, Mr. B also from Energy Transfer were good friends. We used to always hang out and we used to, do silly things in Elsternwick. I can't say all of them, but just growing up, you're doing silly stuff.
Yeah.
So Elsternwick, and then I've sort of lost where I was at.
Where is it? Who was it? Somebody said to me that just near there in Elsternwick, they did a Daffy Duck character on the ABC.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Do you remember that?
There was the countdown piece Bondi did on there. Yeah. It was so I was back with the station, right? So we get chased, I get busted to cut it all short, and literally that's the end. I go to court and basically I've got Bob Hawke. You look like Bob Hawke to me. Saying that if I see you in this courtroom again, you're going to prison.
Yeah.
I'd been busted that many times. Just stupid circumstances.
But all just graph.
Yeah, graph.
Right. Had anyone been jailed for graph then?
I'm not sure.
So.
Not sure.
Yeah.
Can't remember. I just kept getting large fines.
Yeah.
I've got my mum's diaries. I've started going through it like J fine. I've got some of the paperwork.
And how much are the fines? Like we're talking hundreds?
With 1,000. Probably
which is heaps then.
Quite a bit. I think it could have been up to 2.
Right. You could have bought a car in them.
Yeah, I know. I think it just showed me how the justice system works and how it's not. I think growing up, you think that things are so black and white, but they're absolutely not. You think the system is correct and it's the way you should do things, but when you start getting older, you start to understand that we don't really have much of a system. It's broken.
Yep.
In all aspects of our society. And
did you have proper representation or are you using legal aid?
Legal aid. Lawyers were hopeless. I should have just studied law and done it myself. There were aspects that were a bit dicey, but not dicey. Just I'd be like, I literally got busted for a tag at Flagstaff Station. I was going to tag the wall. An elevator opened. The guy grabs me. And then the whole point when it went to court was, were you going to tag the wall? And I said, yes, I was going to tag the wall. And what they said is that the ink dripped onto the ground, onto the concrete. They had to dig it up and reset it. But then there was a miscommunication that the guy doesn't work Sundays, but he works Sundays. And it got really confusing. But it sort of felt like that it didn't actually get replaced in the end.
Yeah. So
it was all weird.
They're just trying to get you.
You'd pay fines. I got done for the murder at Paran Station. It was a negotiation because they had photos of me doing a panel, so I admitted to that instead of getting done for the train. I got a fine for that. It stayed there for a decade after the fine was paid. So it showed to me that it wasn't about I'm paying a fine to get that cleaned off. You're just paying a fine that just gets absorbed into whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's So
so we might as well just move on a bit.
Well, no, yeah. That's if there's more stuff you want to talk about in that, we can.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
How are we going for time?
Man, well, we're going. We've been an hour and a half. Do you want to have a break or something?
No, that's all right.
Okay,
no, keep going.
Keep going. Yeah.
So basically, I'm doing stuff for Darren Renegade. So this is the sort of early 90s.
Yep.
I'm painting. I got a studio in that Dan Murphy's space where Constance had a studio.
Yep.
Got a studio in there. Probably around 94, I had a studio. So I'm doing hand-drawn designs for Darren, like in the book.
Yep.
And then he in the early, sort of around 94-ish, he's taking it to a company or graphic design place, South Melbourne Art.
Yep.
And he's getting them converted from drawing to computer, and they're doing
vectorizing them, kind
of.
of.
Yeah, and they're sepping them all.
Yep. Did you want to get a computer and get into that? Was that?
This is how I got into it.
Right.
Yeah. So basically, the transition of doing stuff for Darren. So then Paul Finlay, the owner of South Melbourne Art, was like, "Dude, do you want a job? Do you want to come and work for us? And I'll teach you the computer and And I was sort of like, probably not, no. And I sort of wasn't interested.
You were happy freelancing.
Yeah, I travelled in '93. I went to Germany and painted with Lumen.
3,000.